Johan, you must be very disappointed with the display. It seemed like the guys maybe tried to do a bit too much from their own half when, running when they should have kicked and kind of just played into the Lions' hands, because they really hurt you at the breakdown today, and defensively they obviously were really up for it as well.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that's going to come. When you look at their games, that almost every forward tries to jackal the ball, and obviously they did it well today, and so obviously we must just have to take accountability for that part, that we didn't fix it, and there was moments that we did it well, but it was just too easy for them to get those turnovers at crucial stages, and we were probably our own worst enemy by trying to shift the ball to somebody that's in a worse position instead of just carrying it and recycle it, and that's how they scored. I think their second try or first try, I can't remember, where we again lost the ball in contact or forced the pass. So the breakdown is definitely something we have to look, but I think more than that, we just have to look at our decision making with the ball. Like I said, credit to the Lions. They used every opportunity, but we didn't score our opportunities. So in the first minute we were held up. Akker got held up. They exited, and when they got one little ball on the floor, they scored. So that's the difference. Second half was 3-point game. Then we knocked on the goal line. They got a scrum. There was a penalty, and then they kicked out, played 50-22, and then they scored. Although before that we had none of opportunities to score. So that's the part that hurt us more, with that we didn't finish our opportunities.
Acker's the returning Springboks. How many of them can you use? Not who you're going to use, but how many of them can you use?
I can use everybody. So I can use.
It's quite a big game next week.
Yeah, for next week.
Yeah.
No, I can use everybody. The question just remains: do you use them after they've been away from home for 8 weeks? Like Grobbies and Gerard Steenekamp was on a 3-week Bulls tour, and then the Springboks took them for 5 weeks. So that's mean they haven't seen their families for 8 weeks, and then you expect them to perform on Saturday.
Akker, jy het gepraat van besluitneming. Besluit met hulle 'n 2-punt game gemaak. En toe sit asof hulle wil hardloop uit elke gebied uit en nie persentasie rugby begin speel en net op die regte plek gekom te speel. Is dit iets wat jou pla, of is dit die styl wat hulle moes gespeel?
Nee, ek stem saam. Ek was 3 punte verskil. Ek dink 19-22 of 9-1 toe ons 'n strafskop voor die pale. En toe stuur ons die boodskap. Kom ons vat die 3 punte, maar voordat ons daai boodskap kon omkry, toe het hulle besluit om die tap penalty te speel, en het ons geskoor, dat ons gesê as 'n great besluit, dat ons sommer die voortuig gevat. So ek gaan nooit die spelers op die hoe kan ek sê, kruisig as hulle wil besluit te maak en hulle voel hulle die oorhand het. Maar nou is dit maklik om terug te kyk en gesê, ek vat die penalty en dan is dit 22 elke, en dan draai die game, want toe van daai skram, soos ek sê, toe kry hulle 'n strafskop. En dis daai goedjies wat ons was net oorhaastig, die spasie was daar, ons sou geskoor het, nog 2 fases sou ons geskoor het, en dis die ding, net daai geduld. Toe Kobus eenslag die bal in kontak verloor met 'n run, en toe hy later weer oor 'n ou gehardloop. So ons het net ander foute maak, so die kere wat ons gehardloop het van ons doellyn, dink ek het hulle miskien scorebord druk gevoel, daai een van Stedman, waar hy sommer net draai offload, toe is ons al klaar, 10-14 punte, en ons het baie tyd oor, so ek dink dit was ons doodsteek was, dat ons bal in kontak verloor het, en dat ons nie gefinish het toe ons moes nie. En dan natuurlik moet ons gaan kyk na ons verdediging, ons kan nie hierdie maklike tackles mis nie, wat die Leeu's goed gedoen het, is hulle agter ons gekom het, die bal lewendig gehou, so moet hulle krediet gee vir dit, en dis hoekom ek sê, so, ek dink die teleurstelling was, dat ons het kanse gehad, en ons het nie gebruik nie, en dit is die goed wat ons moet regmaak.
Ja, jy praat van die breakdowns ook, daai dit breek ongelooflik baie momentum daai wat jy elke keer, dan die ander ding is, sal dit nogal disruptive, dink jy dit was genuine die baie beserings, want net as jy lyk op die momentum kry, dan is daar 'n besering.
Ja, hulle was, hulle was goed met dit, hulle het, is lekker as jy voorloop, dan kan jy so goed doen, jy weet, almal het maar so 'n plan. So hulle het op die regte tyd ouens laat sit en die momentum gestop. Want weet, hulle was 'n beheer, so hulle kon dit doen. So ja, ou kan nie weet, dit is blameer nie, die groot ding is maar net ons kan nie een fase speel of twee fases speel en dan verloor die bal, jy weet, ons het daar in die begin lyn staan, een paas, nok, jy weet, eers toe ons begin die bal bietjie hou, toe begin ons dreder.
Johan, the team seemed a little bit disjointed, almost, if I can call it like. There's not a proper cohesion yet. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it's just, it's difficult to say because you didn't pick it up in the training. The guys train well, but obviously the intensity of training is not always simulating the game, and with our numbers, still. I'm going to say almost not having everybody continuously there, you almost nervous of losing somebody through injury, so you don't always want to have contact, but it's just our accuracy, that was the part that we need to fix. Like our passing was up and down and stopping momentum, and that maybe caused that we didn't have flow in our plays and momentum, and when we started to put it together, we actually looked better. But, we've got no excuses. On the day, we were just not accurate enough, and just not tennis enough. And then obviously, like I said, every little mistake we made, we got punished. And that has to be credited to the Lions.
And decision making, you just mentioned decision making sometimes. Was it maybe a lack of experience, maybe in the leadership, playing from the wrong side of the field, maybe saying, listen guys, let's get the ball on the other side and play from there, that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. Again, they on the field, they see certain space. We obviously want to attack all areas of space. If that means it's through a kick, by playing territory through a kick, because they give you that space. I've only kicked a few times down the middle that I felt we got good reward, then so be it. If it is by holding the ball, and there was 3 or 4 times we could have easily played around them, and the opportunity was there, and then it's an inaccurate pass. So what I'm saying is the players, the decision making with the kicks and the runs could probably been better by sometimes we run when we should have kicked, and sometimes we kick when we should have run. But it is when we decide on something, it's that accuracy, that we sometimes just see the space, but we don't finish, or we get to the space like we put Cheswell in space, but then we knock the ball on the floor. So that's what I say. So it's from individual guys till we as coaches, as a team, just have to make sure that we look at ourselves and fix those mistakes.
How do you fix those mistakes? Sorry, like a knock on or a pass is going astray.
We just have to do more of that, and obviously that's the reason why you review the game and make sure that you fix those specific areas of the game. Individuals can work on their individual skills, but also collectively as a team, we'll just put more emphasis on our carry, on our breakdown, and the players must understand. If you lose, obviously training is normally a bit harder than it's supposed to be, because you need to fix those things.
Johan, ek wil aangaan by wat jy nou antwoord, onder andere oor die planmakerry. Dit het vir my ek het 'n idee gekry, en ek gebruik Willie nou byvoorbeeld as 'n voorbeeld, ou met 100 toetse as ervaring. Daar was nie regtig kontinuïteit oor die planmakerry nie. Lees ek dit reg?
Ja, kyk, wat ons sê is dit beteken net die uitvoering. Weet ek of ek 100% saam met julle stem in terme van, ons wil alles gehardloop het. As jy dink, daai 1 of 2 skrams wat ons in die eerste helfte wil hardloop, as ons gehardloop het en Stravino het byvoorbeeld vir Willie op die loop gespeel, was Willie dwars deur. Jy weet, so dit is net, maar hy het besluit om te carry, en dan sê nou maar nog verloor ons die bal daarna in kontak, of ons skop, miskien nie 'n goeie skop daarna nie. So, ek dink die besluitneming was nie heeltyd akkuraat nie, maar ons kan dit nie noodwendig op een individu sit nie. Ons kan nie sê dit is net die 9's, die 10's en die 15's nie. Elke speler het 'n verantwoordelikheid om 'n besluit te maak in daai van die skram of van die lyn staan het ons 'n sekere plan. Hulle kon net self vir Jan opgesit het en ons kon veld afgeskop het. Ons het, verstaan jy, die keuse is daar. Jy kyk na sekere goed wat die oppositie vir jou gee en hulle maak jy besluit. Maar dan natuurlik is daar 'n tweede en 'n derde fase. Daar's goed wat hulle moet aan dink, kry ons momentum, kry ons nie momentum nie, want momentum gaan bepaal weer wat jy gaan aanhou doen met die bal. So dis wat ek sê, so jy weet, daar was goeie skoppe van Willie, en daar was daar ene wat hy net geskop het in hulle hande in, wat hulle, weet wat ons moes scramble op defense. So elke speler vandag en ons insluitend moet net mooi gaan kyk, weet hoe ons voorberei en ook ons individuele besluite.
Dink jy die leeu's het julle gelees daar? Goed genoeg gelees?
Ja, maar soos ek sê, ek dink daar was baie kanse, jy weet, daar gaan, kyk, hulle het goed verdedig, hulle het hard gekom en hulle het goed getackle op kritieke tye, as jy nou dink aan net die 2 keer wat ons op die doellyn was, maar die realiteit is, jy weet, daar was nog spasie vir ons om aan te val, en ons het dit nie gehelp om het te force nie, want ons het, deur dit het ons turnovers en foute gemaak, en hulle is nog altyd een van die beste spanne met turnovers, jy weet, as hulle eers agter jou inkom, is hulle baie gevaarlik, en hulle het dit uitgebuit, en dit is wat ons hulle krediet moet gee voor.
Laaste vraag oor die skrums, is jy tevrede by die skrums?
Weet, albei spanne was sterk in die skram, wat ek daarby sê, baie keer het die skrams gestaan, en die ref het gesê, gebruik die bal. Ek het daar in die eerste helft het ek gevoel dat ons so klein bietjie die oorhand gehad, wat ek weet, miskien ons nie altyd die reward gekry het nie, maar oor die algemeen dink ek was dit maar gelyk op. Ek dink nie daar was regtig 'n span wat gedomeineer het nie, en het kon elke bal, weet, elke span kon speel van die skram af sonder dat hy onder druk regtig gevoel het.
Okay. Yes. Sorry. Any positives you can take into the rest of the season?
Yeah, no, I mean, 6 games in the competition, with obviously getting this wake-up call, getting this hit on the nose will wake us up, hopefully. But the reality is, the positive for me is the fact that, that score could have got ugly even more if the players just gave up, but they showed a lot of character, and who knows, by a minute or two longer, I don't say we would have won the game, we could have scored another try for another point out of it, so they showed a lot of fight, and then I felt, again, come back to our set piece, I felt our lineouts were good, there was two or three maybe calls that we didn't call well, we mauled well, we have to obviously look at our maul defense, we scrummed well, and then we scored, I think, 2 first phase tries, and we scored some tries at the end. So if we do get it right, if we do look after the ball, then we're dangerous. And then, we had a 21-year-old lock, we had a 20-year-old lock, we had a 20-year-old number 8, we got a 23-year-old flank. So 4 players out of the pack was under 23 and younger. If you take out Johan Draai, Rudolph and Acker, we probably would have been about 24 years old, 23 years old, I think even with them in, it's a 25-year-old pack, so that's great, so it's great for the experience they picked up, and a guy like Chase will come on as a 20-year-old, and he picks up a bit of experience, so I'm positive about, the game, and in the sense that what we got out of it, if you look at that sense. The disappointing thing is it's at home, it's in front of our supporters, the mistakes we made was in our control, individual mistakes, the decision making wasn't great, and and as a coach, you know you don't want that performance, you know. So that's the disappointing thing. But you know, I'll never give up on a team. You know, I won't say there's nothing positive because at the end of the day, like I always say, if life was so easy, we all would have been millionaires, eh? So we're not. So we just keep fighting.
Yeah, just a word on Cesar Just. I mean, he was really quite explosive when he came on, and Sebastian de Klerk as well. Seemed to have a really good game.
Yeah.
Your two wings.
Yeah, no, I mean Sebastian his heart is so big, you know. Everything he does is full out. Even in training, you know, you never see him do something half pace. He's always full out. He obviously had to go to 13 because of Jan's injury, and David got obviously injured, so we lost both centers, and you know, we had to simplify the plays, and again, you know, he showed a lot of good touches in a new position that he hasn't played for a long time, and he defended like a Trojan, so he's good. And in Cheswell, you know, he showed when he gets space how dangerous he can be. I would have just loved him to back himself once or twice a bit more, maybe a little chip kick over the last man, and you know, but yes, he's dangerous when he get space. So yeah, it's great learning for him.
Dit
Ja,
vinnig
maar-
met die beserings, Akkers, die veral Daniel lyk dit of dit kop is, en dan David Kriel.
Ja, so David sal fyn wees. Hy's die oogspesialis het klaar gekyk. Dit lyk soos 'n krap op jou lens of iets, so dit lyk nie te ernstig nie, so dit lyk of hy sal fyn wees. Jan sal definitief uit wees. Hy het MCL, ons weet nou nog nie hoe lankie.
Okay.
En dan John sal afhang of hy nou, hy het sy obviously die concussion toets van die veld af nie deurgegaan, dus kom hy nie kan opkom nie, maar daar is obviously nog toets wat hulle nou doen, so ek weet nog nie wat daai resultaat is nie. As hy deur is, sal hy 'n kans hê om te speel, as hy nie deur is, dan natuurlik sal hy uitwees. So dis die 3 waarvan ek weet. Verder is al maar standbench total.
Yeah, what went wrong with the 16 players penalty?
Yeah. No, just summed up the day, eh? That nothing that we wanted to do went according to plan. So I sent up the reserves at that 1 minute, and then John Draai came out of the tunnel, and he decided to apparently just go on, you know, because he's keen to get back on it. And that obviously forced the law that you could consider a penalty. And again, you know, funny enough, the penalty that we didn't kick to the post, in hindsight now, is maybe a big moment, but that also, in a sense, was a big moment, because I think they kicked out, and from there they went and scored, if I remember correctly, where it was our scrum on the halfway line. So again, you know, it just shows you how quickly things change if you don't get it right. So, you know, we just have to make sure we don't do that again.
Happy everyone.
Thank you.
Sorry, Bordeaux next week is a big one. Champions, defending champions. You guys, you know, put out your squad earlier this week, looking very impressive and the likes. What are your thoughts on that going into that game? Because, you know, in terms of what you've seen today, going into next week.
No, I mean, we'll have to be way better. Because if you think the Lions can attack from scrappy and turn over ball, they can. They score tries from all over the field. We obviously had a look at them. They scored tries from set piece to turnovers to multi-phase to everything. They got world-class backs and a big pack of forwards. So we got a massive challenge on our hand, and it would have been nice to have the Springboks fresh, for this week, even if they didn't play today, and then ready to go on Monday. But now that's not the case. So that's the hand we have to deal with. So we have to obviously reassess everything and take it position by position to see who we're going to play. But you know, the reality is if we're not way better than today, that's the one side that will put a big score on you, because they've got they're going to come obviously with all the internationals, because they're the defending champions. and that's why we've got a big challenge on our hands, and we have to prepare well.